Chapter 10, Lesson 4 on the Pythagorean Theorem. Okay, so the Pythagorean Theorem is based on a theory that has to do with right triangles, only with right triangles. Okay, the first thing we need to know is the parts of a right triangle. So the two legs of a right triangle are the two sides that are adjacent to the right angle. And adjacent means next to, so it touches the right angle. And the hypotenuse is the one other side that's opposite of the right angle, so it doesn't touch the right angle. So usually when I'm trying to define these, I always start with the hypotenuse, because what I do is I say, okay, if my right angle is here, and then I go across from it, here's my right angle, go across from it, that side is the hypotenuse. So this side here is the hypotenuse. All right, this side here is the hypotenuse. And then that makes the other two the legs. And we can see that the two legs, right, the leg and the leg, make up this right angle. And so that helps us to know which ones are the legs. So here's a leg, and here's a leg. Here's a leg, and here's the other leg of this right triangle. We only use legs and hypotenuse when we're talking about right triangles. Okay, so the Pythagorean theorem says that in a right triangle, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And is what we must remember about that is that a and b are talking about the two legs. It doesn't matter which leg's a and which leg is b. And c is talking about the hypotenuse. Okay, something else to remember is that the hypotenuse is always the longest side. And the legs are going to be the two shorter sides if you know the lengths. Okay, so let's do an example. So first thing I need to do is I need to figure out, okay, which one of these are my legs and which is the hypotenuse? Well, here's my right angle. So across from my right angle, this is my hypotenuse, or C. And then the 8 and 15, one will be A and one will be B. Again, it doesn't matter which is which, because you're just adding them together. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 8 squared plus 15 squared equals C squared. 64 plus 225 equals C squared. 289 equals c squared. Take the square root of both sides, and 17 equals c. And in this case, it's 17 millimeters. Okay, now the converse of the Pythagorean theorem, not talking about the shoes, of course, but the converse says, okay, well, the Pythagorean theorem says that if we have a right triangle, we already know it's a right triangle, then a squared plus b squared equals c squared. That must be true. The converse says, hey, if I have a triangle and I do a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and that's true, then I know that the triangle is a right triangle. Converse just kind of means opposite. So let's look at an example. So let's say that I have a triangle and I know the sides are 8, 9, and 12. All right, so I know that's 8, 9, and 12. So I'm trying to decide if it's a right triangle. Well, if it is, then the 12 must be the hypotenuse and these two must be the legs. So this is what it would look like if it is a right triangle. So let's test it out. 8 squared plus 9 squared equals, and you can kind of put that question mark there, because that's what we're checking. Does it equal 12 squared? So I'm going to say, okay, 64 plus 81, does that equal 144? Well, let's do it. It equals, 145. So it's not true, so no, it's not a right triangle.